of B&T Sports Talk. A lot of stuff happening, especially within the NBA, and free agency is just taking over all the news, and lots of stuff is going on. So we wanted to hop on a Saturday and really hop into it and talk about what is happening and why, and talk about our favorite teams and how we feel about their attempts at improving their teams this offseason. If this is your first time listening to us, go ahead and give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. If you are subscribed, hit the notification button, like the video. We appreciate that as well. Um, let's get into it. Well, first, B man, how you doing? Saturday evening, little different feel.
Hell yeah, man. I like it. It's hot to say the least. I know you're burning up where
Oh
you're
yeah,
at right
it's
now.
107
Um,
degrees, people. Not in my
wow,
house.
70 degrees.
Not in my house. Outside my house. I would be looking like.
Nice warm 70 degrees here on the coast. So can't complain, man. So summertime is officially here. Hopefully the weather stays like this for a while. And the 4th of July is soon upon us, man. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
holiday
it.
weekend,
But
man.
doing good, man. Hope you enjoyed your Saturday as
Oh
well.
yeah, man. Just got the kids out for a little bit. Had to get back home though because it got to about 100 and something, and it's pretty much game over at that point. So it's time to go back home and get in the AC and
Yeah.
sit down and take a nap because before you get sunstroke. Um, so
Exactly.
we'll start off with our teams. Obviously, free agency has been quite busy with some of the stuff that happened, especially with some big news that happened this morning. But we're going to start with our teams before we jump across the NBA. So we're going to start with the Warriors, and the Warriors didn't make any. Well, they made some splashy moves. They took care of a certain player, brought them back, and then they brought in an additional piece while also taking away a bad salary in Jordan Poole. So let's jump into that. So, how are you feeling about the Draymond Green re-signing and the CP3 edition? How are you feeling about that?
Well, the Draymond signing was way too much money. I was not expecting $100 million contract for four
I
years.
mean,
I mean, that's going to take him to the end of Curry's contract, which I get. But bro, Dennis Rodman, even in his prime, I mean, again, in that era,
yeah,
players weren't signed $100 million contract,
yeah,
but you weren't looking at giving Dennis Rodman even $30 million to say the least. There,
yeah,
so I can't wrap my head around it. It's great he's back. He is the core of what the Warriors do to say, but in my mind, it's a selfish ass move to take 4 years, $100 million for a guy who's averaging more technical fouls than he is points a game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like
Well,
you're signing him for his brain, and that doesn't make any sense to me because you don't have a window of opportunity, so you have to really balance this out. And now the Warriors are kind of cuffed because you really can't be signing. The next player you're going to sign is Klay Thompson because he's due for another max contract after this year. So it just doesn't make any sense for 4 years, 100 million. I said 3 years, 85 million probably would have made a lot more sense because then you use that extra 20 million to go get another player. But
yeah.
that's kind of in the wash. So I mean, I hope they know what they're doing, but in this day and age, older players are getting just big money contracts. It just doesn't make sense to me in that mind.
Yeah, it almost, I think what's happening with the Warriors is they've been in the salary cap. They've been over the salary cap for so many years now that they're in this place where they keep getting penalized, and they're going to get larger and larger uh, taxes levied against them for going over the cap repeatedly. Um, they needed to get off of that Jordan Poole contract, and I think that was a big thing with the
Yeah,
CP3 trade. And I think they realized they had made a mistake. They realized it was an overcommitment of money to a younger player who wasn't ready. So I kind of give the GM kudos for finding a way to get it done. I just don't like what they got in return. Talking about the CP3, I don't think CP3 is a bad pickup, but I think Jordan Poole still has some upside. And if you're gonna negotiate a contract, I thought they would have been better suited trying to get back a big or someone who can play at the 4 or the 5 for them, to help provide them some depth at those positions. We both said, and we saw it against the Lakers, they're an extremely small team, And so adding another
Yeah.
6'2", 6'3" guard, I don't know if it necessarily helps them. Now, CP3 could help, kickstart some of their offense and take some of the ball handling off of Steph Curry. But after seeing them re-sign Draymond, they really, really need to try to get a big. They need to get another big in there to, other than Moody, who's played very well, mind you, to help secure or solidify that spot because, Draymond Green's old, man. I don't think he's not a guy you can trust to really make it through an entire regular season and a postseason. He's going to take some time off.
Well, and on top of that, the Warriors really don't have a backup center outside
Yeah,
of
they
to
don't.
help
Yeah,
Kevon Looney.
no, they don't.
You
That's what I
know,
mean.
so they got to go find themselves a backup center here, and there are a couple guys on the market, but you just saw what the market just did over the last couple days. Like,
Kaboom.
it's going to cost you a pretty penny
Yeah.
to say the least, because as Charles Barkley would say, some bums got some money over these last couple days here, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But let's get to the chat. Jam 2983. Thanks for joining us this Saturday, man. I hope you're having a great weekend. Doesn't think Dre would have come back at a lower price. Warriors had no other moves and a player option at year 4. I mean, yeah, I think they were all. He was going to go back to the Warriors. It was just because there's not another team he's going to have success with that's out there right now. So his only spot is the Warriors. I know he's been taking cuts to bring players. Now would have been the most important time to take a little bit of a cut to add players to ensure that this team can wind up with at least 1 to 2 championships before they ride off in the sunset.
Well,
that's just my thing.
The problem with the Warriors is they're a salary cap team. Let's start there. Because they're repeat offenders, they're a salary cap team. The only players that they can really extend or sign contracts to are just re-signs, which they did with Draymond. Out on the open market, they don't have any extra cash to actually go and get folks outside of an exception, a mid-level exception, which I don't even know if they have that, or a league minimum. So the Warriors are really strapped, especially with the new collective bargaining agreement, which further squeezes teams that are above the salary cap. They really are strapped and cannot do a lot with the money. So I think Draymond has that is what's keeping them from doing a little bit more. Draymond has the most value to the Warriors. And he doesn't have a ton of value to other teams outside the Warriors. Now, could another team have come in and paid him a ton of money to show up? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that could have very well happened. Maybe the Pacers or the Rockets or these teams that actually have cap space could have thrown money at him. But at the end of the day, he had the most value to the Warriors, and I think that's why most folks believe that he would come back. But I just don't, dude. They have to find a way to fill out their roster. I'm just saying the Warriors are a great team, and I know they believe.
No, you're right.
They can't 100%. run. They can't run
not...
the same group back out there. They have to find a way to get good around the edges, which they haven't yet done. We haven't seen them pick up any vet minimum guys yet. We haven't seen them. Pick up some of these guys that are maybe not the best but mid-tier or lower tier free agents, and there's still some guys out there. So we'll see how it plays out.
There were some undrafted centers that didn't go. Remember the kid from UConn that we watched during the Final Four?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't get drafted this year. We talked about the draft.
But they can go get Mason Plumlee. I mean, there's guys there.
No, you can't.
It's thin, but there are guys that are out there. And to speak of what Jam's talking about, centers market is very thin now. But you still got you still got Mason Plumlee. You still got I don't know. Do you want to take a flyer out on Mo Bamba? I mean, you've got a few guys out there. Just get one, because at this point it's just a minimum deal, and you need to satisfy a particular. The only issue I have with the Warriors is, outside of their trade, they didn't use the trade to help fill those spots, and on top of that, they haven't done anything to add to their roster yet. And I'm not saying they're going to get they're not going to get the splashiest moves, but you would at least like to see them replace a guy like DiVincenzo, who's gone. Ty Jerome is left. So now you're just basically Kuminga and Moody, and that's it. So they either trade those guys and turn them into something else, or that's what they're rolling with.
and Chris Paul too, which we're still waiting for that announcement. Who I mean, we keeping them, we using them for trade bait. I don't know what it is yet because Bradley Beal, the guys who started this off a long time ago have all signed their deals, and we're still waiting on Chris Paul to officially be introduced as a Warrior. So interesting that still hasn't taken place. But dude, this is just day one. It's just with all the things that are happening, and what your team is lacking to say. Maybe they're just waiting for all the dust to settle here.
Dude.
To just because they got to see what the prices are. The price is for these players
it's
here.
vet minimums or nothing at this point, man. That's for the Warriors. That's
Yep.
I mean that's all they got left, man. Man, the chat's on fire. Let's get caught up here. So, Jam, same for both sides. They needed each other, and remember, it's a business. Most people, not just players, will not take a huge pay cut. Absolutely, I don't think Draymond was going to take a huge pay cut. $25 million a year isn't terrible compared to how much he thought he was going to make. And I just think the Warriors are in a position where they just don't have any other option. So, and then
yeah.
Hope y'all have been well from JJ. Yeah, man, we've been well. JJ, we're going to get into talking about the Lakers in a minute because I don't know what the Warriors was doing, but I know what the Lakers were doing. And then Jam comes back again. I actually think they're worse than last year. Curry and Clay will miss time. Now you don't have Poole to go crazy for a few games. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's why they have to get better around the fringes and try to make the best they can out of what they've got. And that's why I said if they could have turned that CP3 trade or that Jordan Poole trade into more players, maybe not as good as Jordan Poole, but a few players that are okay, I would have been okay with that. But turning it into CP3.
And the Warriors have done that in the past. The Warriors have done that in the past too.
Yeah.
Where they've been able to land a couple guys off of one guy. So it's interesting to say the least here, but oh man, we got two Laker fans.
Oh, let's get it started.
Right.
So for those who don't know, JJ knows. JJ knows I'm a Laker fan. Matty Mac, welcome. I'm also a Laker fan here. Let's get into it and let's talk about the beauty that is Rob Pelinka, or as I've begun to call him, Plink. What Plink has done in the offseason. Let's see what we got.
Lay it down for you guys, and Taj, I'll let you take the floor. So the Lakers finally decided to pull the checkbook out, and they went crazy. Let's start with this. The big one, the biggest contract, Austin Reeves got a 4-year extension at $56 million. They re-signed D'Angelo Russell for 2 years, $37 million. They got Jackson Hayes for 2 years, Cam Reddish for 2 years. Re-signed Rui Hachimura for 3 years, $51 million. Gabe Vincent came on for 3 years, $33 million. Teron Prince, 1 year, $4.5 million, and then exercising Jared Vanderbilt for a team option of $4.7 million. So the Lakers have decided that this is the core they want to go, but they found a way to build that core as well through these free agencies. So Taj, looking at everything that your Lakers did in 24 hours, one, who was the biggest signing through all of that right now?
Oh, well, it's obvious. It's going to be Austin Reeves for sure. I mean, there was a lot of chatter around the league about how other teams were going to make offers for him. But once that money started flying all over the place to guys for mid-level players getting max-type contracts, I don't think the market was what the agent for Austin Reeves thought it would be. And the Lakers did a great job. From what I hear from my sources, folks. No, I'm just being stupid. But the Lakers put it out there that if someone matched Austin Reeves' contract, that or offered him a contract, that they would match it and wait until the very end of free agency to match it. So basically, they were telling the other team that you can make an offer, we're going to match it, but we're going to make you sit and wait and not get a chance at other free agents until the end, and we'll still match it. So they preemptively put the word out, letting folks know that Reeves was theirs and theirs alone. They did a great job of that. The market helped dictate that by how much the teams that actually had cap space spent a lot of it early, which also contributed to that. But really, we got to talk about the fact that the Lakers went into an offseason with big names on the board and were not involved with any of them. Thank God. No Kyrie talk. No Dame Lillard talk, no Tobias Harris talk, none of them. We were not involved with any of them. We weren't even mentioned. That's the first time in B, you can even attest to this. That's the first time in many off
It's been
seasons
a while.
that the Lakers are
Uh-huh.
not gunning for a star and instead chose to go with a star with the core that they have. And I'm glad that they changed positions from the three-headed monster with the Russell Westbrook thing and the let's get Kyrie Irving to solidifying the team that they had last year and going in that same direction. So I'm gonna go through some of these, and we'll talk about how much better Rob Pelinka is than the Warriors GM. Well, I take that back. The Warriors GM just left. I'm sorry, I can't take shots at him. He did his job. I don't know the new.
No, go ahead. It is.
Dunleavy just got here. I'm not gonna kill him, but go ahead, B. Go ahead.
Before you dive into that, let's get caught up on the chat here. Said the Lakers won this weekend. As an NBA head, you got to agree to that. They went out and did their thing. Jam, my Lakers are looking good. JJ agrees with him. I agree with Rachel. The Lakers are overrated. That's just because you see the logo on my hat. I will never agree to that there. JJ says the Vincent signing was a bombshell. Didn't even think it was on our radar. And Jam comes back with they finally learned from these past few seasons, balanced team with depth. And that's what wins you championships is you build around what you have to supplement that. And I just want to tell you this, T. This is going to take a lot of pressure off of LeBron and even AD because you have confidence in the guys that are going to be on the court that can hold a lead or even push a lead out without having your superstars on the court, because that's essentially what you need when they're either not playing, because when Anthony Davis gets a concussion for some odd-ass reason, and then he's got to be wheeled off the court, or LeBron James's big toe decided to hurt him as well. Regardless, they made out and got the signings. I'll tell you this, Gabe Vincent was probably the best signing in my eyes, because it reassures you that depth point guard, and he can score. He really showed out in the playoffs and in the finals. So you guys getting Gabe Vincent to reassure, and it's a better upgrade than Dennis Schroeder. To say
it's a younger version.
Yeah, I think he's a better version than Dennis Schroeder, to say, in my mind. So I'll let you continue on with this as well. And happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Sorry, Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid $1.2 million or something like that and hasn't played baseball in like 20 fucking years. So it's, dude, the guy is just making out on money and just by sitting on his ass at home. It's unreal. But continue on with your talk here.
So I mean, I think the biggest thing, of course, was being able to keep the core together. So being able to bring back D'Angelo Russell, who struggled in the finals, but is a good point guard, and when given a full season, hopefully can show some strides. And of course, we have to wait to see that in the playoffs, especially for him. Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, these are all young